The best is when your opponent plays Cavalier of Flame and discards all the cards in their hand and forgets that they can't draw, and they see the Narset flash red and immediately concede. I think I'm going to play another match. I feel like we're really on a roll, and I want to keep it going. Obviously, again, anybody that needs to check out, please don't feel obligated to stick around, but I do like the view count. Definitely. Thanks, Mark. Enjoy dinner. Alright, and we are up against an aggro deck, which is our worst matchup, especially when we draw multiple card discard spells. But Oath of Kaya is going to be helpful. Oh, the double Fervent Champion open is quite difficult to beat. And here, I think it makes sense to get rid of Embercleave. That card just wins games out of nowhere, and we'll try to keep the board as clear as we can. Kaya's Wrath is a nice one if we can hit one more land. In the meantime, we can take out one of the Fervent Champions. Saves us 2 damage a turn. Alright, they can hit us for 4 plus 2 with Stomp, so 6 this turn. And really need to hit another land for Kaya's Wrath to stay in it. Oh, the tapped land does not do it for us. And that doesn't help either. We can try to Agonizing Remorse and see if they let us take that, but that's unlikely to work. But at least we'll see what their last card is. Free information. There's another Fervent Champion. So they're playing around the Wrath anyway. Alright, and they've got game lock. This looks like the Rakdos Knights deck. I think here the discard is much worse. The Devout Decrees are amazing because they hit every card in that deck. And Kaya and Kaya's Wrath are both excellent. Ashiok and Elspeth Conquers Death are too expensive. Ooh, the 3 Treacherous Blessings are actually not great, so I'm going to cut 2 of those and bring back in 2 of the discard spells since we are on the play. And this feels pretty good. Yeah, so aggro is definitely the toughest matchup for the Esper Doom Foretold deck, but I feel like I'm about 50% in most of the ones that I've played, as long as you can find a Wrath and hopefully hit a speed bump for them like an Oath of Kaya before then. It is not impossible to stabilize. Now after board, sometimes they will bring in more Planeswalkers, which make the Wraths less effective, and that can be difficult to navigate around. This is probably the only matchup where I actually missed the Birth of Meletus, which is the card that I cut primarily for Agonizing Remorse. How's everybody's evening going so far? Hopefully we're getting some relaxation in. Alright, definitely playing first. And this hand has the Wrath and a 2-drop. I think it's worth keeping. Hopefully they don't have an incredibly explosive start, but as long as we can clear their board with the Wrath, we should be okay. I'm going to go ahead and play out Godless Shrine tap. Next turn, if we don't draw anything meaningful, we'll play the Egg. Temple of Silence is interesting as well. Of note, we actually don't want to play either of our blue-only lands here because we want to be able to Wrath on 4, so I want to be very careful about that. Okay, we do have a second Wrath if it comes to that. So next turn, probably Temple of Silence. Well, the second Wrath ends up being valuable here as insurance, and this will definitely change how they are playing. Oath of Kaya is spectacular, so now that they know about the Wrath, I think it makes sense to play out Oath of Kaya. They're not going to play into the Wrath too hard if they know we have it in hand, and it becomes significantly less valuable then. Doom Foretold is always a welcome sight. I don't know if they have any way to deal with this once it resolves. I don't think that they do. And pretty much every single part of this card is relevant against the aggro deck. The 2/2 body is helpful, the life drain is helpful, and the card swing is helpful. Card swing the least so, but it still matters. Yeah, as long as they haven't fully emptied their hand by the time this does its thing, then we're getting good value. I'm not sure what they're thinking about. Maybe flashing in the Black Lance Paragon to sack to Doom Foretold was their consideration. They're kind of in a rock and a hard place. There's not a good way around that. Either it's going to go off and do its thing, or they're going to start sacking creatures every turn, and it's hard for them to win either way. So if they were going to flash in the Black Lance Paragon, they definitely should have done it last turn. Here, if they flash it in, they're wasting their mana for the turn to do it. And a second Doom Foretold is very nice. Not sure about them stomping me. I'm pretty high in terms of life total. That seemed... Oh, now it makes sense. Okay. And even though Treacherous Blessing is not at its best in this matchup, I can't resist drawing 3 cards. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, and Dance of the Manse is a welcome sight. We'll go ahead and scry. And we'll keep the Omen of the Sea as well. So next turn we can actually buy back 2 Doom Foretolds. We also have the ability to exile any permanent that they play. That's obviously a creature or a planeswalker. Them taking our Dance for the Manse is certainly annoying. Dance of the Manse. And just looking at our hand is enough for them to concede. So we're going to move on to game 3. A couple cards get worse on the draw, Teferi and Agonizing Remorse. I just don't have that much else that I want to bring in this matchup, so I'm not sure if I actually want to cut any copies of them. we did see more spells out of them, so Dovin's Veto is a consideration. I think I am going to actually bring in 2 of these and take out 2 of the Teferis, because Teferi is so easy for them to kill when they're on the play. Dovin's Veto stops Ember Cleave, which is the big one, but also in a pinch it can pick off Stomp and not allow them to then play their Bone Crusher Giant. And potentially, if somehow we get in a situation where they are drill bitting and we have open mana, we can stop that as well. This is about as good as we can do, so I'm definitely going to keep this. And just looking to continue to hit land drops and make our way up to Doom Foretold. And that is certainly good enough to keep on top. The unfortunate thing is we are going to have to pay for our pain lands. Our hand is pretty resilient here to Agonizing Remorse. We have so many different cards that punish them. And even if they pick off our Doom Foretold, they see the Dance of the Mance, so it's only a matter of time before we're able to buy it back. If I were them, I don't know what they have in hand, but I think I would probably take Doom Foretold and hope to end the game before Dance of the Mance becomes relevant. They're protecting something in their hand by taking that one. Here I think it is certainly worth shocking to be able to play Omen of the Sea. And it looks like they have no red mana right now, so it's possible they have some cards stranded in their hand. So they are going to drill bit. Here, I am actually going to play the Omen of the Sea so I can set up the top of my deck. And both of these cards are extremely good. I'm going to leave it in exactly this order so they cannot pick off the Wrath. And here again, they can make us discard Doom Foretold, but that Dance of the Mance is getting closer every turn. Maybe they just want to take Teferi. I don't think there's a good option. It feels like we are going to win this game. And I am going to play out the Teferi. It's interesting here if I want to draw a card or start ticking it up. I think I start ticking it up and make it harder for them to kill it with something like a Stomp. And also being able to bounce Rotting Regisaur is nice. Also Wrath the Rotting Regisaur, but here I think bouncing it and delaying a turn is nice. And we can shock, play the Golden Egg, and keep Dovin's Veto up just in case. Oh, and we can also get a peek at their hand, which I think is even better than Dovin's Veto for sure. Now I should have done that on their draw step. Embercleave is the scary card. Nightmare Shepherd with what they have in hand is not particularly good. Let me go ahead and... Well, they're pretty far from casting Embercleave actually, so let's go ahead and take the Nightmare Shepherd. What we're going to do is we're going to plus Teferi when they play the Rotting Regisaur again, and then ideally we're going to Wrath on their turn. So they just concede. There's really no way out of this for them, and they know Dance of the Mance is also on the horizon. Alright, up to 95%. I'm going to pause this for 1 second. I will be back in 1 minute.